Lena Whitmore was 19. Bright, beautiful, vanished without a trace. James Whitmore was 42, decorated veteran, respected uncle, hiding a secret darker than anyone could imagine. What began as a simple missing person case in a quiet Idaho town unraveled into a web of forbidden love, lies, and betrayal, so twisted it left an entire community in shock. This is the story of how a niece and her uncle crossed the line of no return, and what happened when their secret finally came to light. It began on a cloudy Thursday morning. In April 2009, in the rural town of Maple Ridge, Idaho, population just under 6,000. The air was crisp, the orchards were beginning to bloom, and the town was preparing for its annual spring fair. But what began as a normal day quickly turned into a nightmare. Lena Whitmore, a 19-year-old college sophomore, failed to show up for her shift at the Maple Ridge diner. She wasn't answering her phone, and her roommate hadn't seen her since the night before. By evening, her red Honda Civic was discovered on a dirt road near Crater Hill, a quiet stretch known mostly to hunters and hikers. The car was unlocked, her purse and keys were inside. Her cell phone had been powered off and, curiously, her shoes were in the back seat. Search teams scoured the surrounding woods, but no trace of Lena was found. Flyers were stapled to telephone poles, a reward was posted, and the town held vigils. Local media began to cover the case, dubbing her disappearance the Maple Ridge Mystery. But what shocked everyone most was that Lena, sweet, quiet, academically gifted, had absolutely no reason to vanish. She was loved by her professors, respected by co-workers, and doted on by her single mother, Karen Whitmore. No one saw this coming. After 2 weeks of dead ends, police decided to revisit Lena's family home for a more thorough search. Hidden. Beneath a loose floorboard under her bed was a leather-bound journal, locked with a small brass clasp. Her mother claimed she'd never seen it before. The journal, once opened by forensic techs, revealed over 2 years of private thoughts. Written in Lena's looping cursive, the pages exposed emotional turbulence, obsession, and an escalating secret relationship. Early entries described someone she called Jay. She wrote about him with intense emotion, admiration, longing, and shame. At first, the tone was vague. He makes me feel seen in a way no one else does. I know it's wrong, but it feels like fate. As entries progressed, the relationship became clearer and darker. She described meetings at night, coded, rendezvous spots, and weekends spent in remote cabins and motels miles outside of town. She even wrote about dreams of escaping Maple Ridge together and starting over somewhere new. Then came the entry dated December 24, 2008. Spent Christmas pretending like we're nothing to each other. He hugged me in front of Mom and I felt sick, but I wanted more. We have to leave soon. The final entry left no more doubt. I love him, and I hate myself for it. He's my mother's brother, my uncle. Jay is James Whitmore. The shock rocked the investigation. The focus shifted. This was no longer a simple missing person case. It was something far more sinister. James Whitmore was a respected figure in Maple Ridge. At 42, he was known as a hard worker, a construction foreman, military veteran, and devoted family man. He lived just 5 miles from Lena's home in a modest house with a large garage and an American flag waving from the porch. When first questioned, James appeared calm. He admitted he was close to Lena, especially after his sister's divorce, and said he had helped tutor her in high school. but he insisted he hadn't seen or spoken to her in weeks. However, phone records painted a different picture. In the last 6 months alone, there were over 430 phone calls between James and Lena. Several calls were made at 2 or 3 a.m. The duration of some calls stretched past 90 minutes. One number traced back to a burner phone purchased at a truck stop in Spokane. Investigators also discovered that James had withdrawn nearly $12,000 in cash over the previous 3 months. He had no known debts or big purchases. The withdrawals were always from different ATMs, mostly late at night. Neighbors told police they had seen Lena's car parked in James's driveway on several nights, long after family gatherings had ended. Yet there was still no body, no confession, and no concrete proof that James had harmed Lena, until a local hunter found something horrifying 40 miles away in the forest. On the edge of the Clearwater National Forest, a hunter stumbled upon a blue denim jacket half buried near a riverbank. It matched the one Lena had been wearing in surveillance footage from a gas station 2 days before her disappearance. A forensics team confirmed it was hers. Her DNA was found on the collar and a blood smear on the sleeve. Using GPS logs from James's work truck, police identified a curious pattern. Multiple trips to a specific location deep in the forest, always during the evening or early morning hours. The area was rugged and remote, accessible only by dirt trail. There they found an abandoned wooden cabin, partially hidden by pine trees. Its windows were boarded. The front door creaked on rusty hinges. Inside, investigators found fresh blankets and clothing, some women's, 2 toothbrushes, a journal identical in style to Lena's home, diary missing its first pages, empty food cans and bottled water dated just a week before her disappearance. The most chilling discovery was behind the fireplace, a hidden space behind a false wall. Inside, wrapped in a towel, was a bundle of Polaroid photographs. The photos showed Lena in various stages of undress. Some looked consensual, others didn't. In some, she appeared disoriented or fearful. There were also photos of Lena and James together, kissing, embracing, confirming the incestuous relationship beyond doubt. James was arrested the next day. The case appeared airtight. The community demanded justice. James was charged with unlawful sexual conduct, incest, and suspected homicide, even though Lena's body was still missing. But just before trial, a tip changed everything. A bookstore employee in Oregon reported a young woman using a fake ID who looked exactly like Lena Whitmore. When detectives reviewed surveillance footage, the resemblance was undeniable. Within days, Lena was found living under the alias Emily Reed in Eugene, Oregon. She had rented a small studio apartment with cash. She worked part-time, avoided social, media, and hadn't contacted anyone from Maple Ridge since her disappearance. In a private interview with detectives, Lena finally revealed the truth. She and James had been in a relationship for nearly 3 years. They had planned to flee Maple Ridge together, fearing discovery, but the media attention overwhelmed her, and she ran, leaving James behind with no way to reach her. She created a false narrative of disappearance and even planted her belongings to make it look like a crime scene. She claimed James never held her against her will. "It was love," she said. "Twisted, yes, but real." Despite her testimony, James was convicted of incest, unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, and obstruction of justice. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Lena was never charged. She declined all media requests, cut ties with her family, and changed her identity once again. Maple Ridge once peaceful, would forever bear the stain of the crime that unfolded in silence within a family. A secret hidden behind smiles and Sunday dinners. To this day, Lena's whereabouts remain unknown. James Whitmore, now in his 60s, continues to claim he did nothing wrong. "You can't help who you love," he told the court. But the world saw it differently. When love crosses the line into obsession, it doesn't just break the law. It shatters everything.